The Interdynamic KG-9. Originally designed in Sweden in the early 80s as the MP9 and unsuccessfully marketed towards military and law enforcement, Interdynamic instead opted to set up a subsidiary and shift focus to the US civilian market with a semi-automatic Airsoft Tec KG-9 named after the principal partners in the deal. The KG-9 and its closed-bolt successor, the Tec 9, however, gained a notorious reputation as the preferred weapon of criminals due to their affordable price and ease of use, with appearances in many movies and video games. Hi, I'm Andrew, and in this week's very special video, I'll be reviewing the Kingdom Technologies KG-9 GBB, a brand new original replica of the Interdynamic KG-9. Now, this isn't the first KG-9 featured on this channel, as RWA also had an AEG KG-9, which I actually have the prototype over here, as well as Maruzen having had their own discontinued GBB and its clones, one of which I actually owned quite a few years ago. However, this KTC KG-9 is a wholly original replica made to 2023 standards for your pleasure. Externally, the Kingdom Technologies KG-9 features a gorgeous, weighty, stamped steel upper receiver and a polymer frame with almost exacting dimensions as the real thing. The gun itself is built like a brick, and you could probably wield it as a club if you so desired from how solid it is. However, it must be noted that the markings are not really accurate to the real thing, which might not be to the liking of the purists out there. So let's start off at the front with the barrel. And this gun comes with a 14mm thread adapter for all your accessory needs. However, do you want to attach accessories with external threads? Well, all you need to do is simply remove the adapter and you now have an 11.1 internal thread instead. The entire stamped steel upper is extremely simple, with plain open front and rear sights at the top over here, as well as some very narrow and quite crudely welded front and rear sling mounts here and here. Unlike the steel upper, however, the bolt is made of aluminium in order to ensure that the gun has a very snappy rate of fire. But similar to the Sten, the KG-9 also fires from an open bolt position. This means you must pull the bolt open, like this, before firing, and that firing commences immediately upon the bolt being released, like so. Now, it's not really a big deal, though you might feel a slight delay between pulling the trigger and this replica firing. The hop-up, however, is located within the chamber itself. Open the bolt up and you're greeted with a very handy little hop-up dial with markings on which direction to adjust the hop, which makes it so much better than the other KG-9 replicas out there. Over to the polymer frame, where the grip has this really nice grippy sort of diamond texture, similar to that of some older 1911s. The select fire slider is just next to the trigger right over here. Right is safe, middle is semi, and left is fun mode, with the magazine release right on the magwell. Now, typical for an open bolt SMG, the trigger doesn't really have anything sort of, pertaining to a wall, which could be detrimental to precision. Well, that's if this was a precision gun to begin with, which this clearly isn't. Over to the rear and, well, guess what? There's no stock. Now, theoretically, this KG-9 should be compatible with third-party stock adapters for both the real one and previous Airsoft ones. However, as we do not have any ourselves, please don't quote me on it. So you're pretty much reduced to either bracing it against a sling or straight up hip firing it in-game. And finally, the KG-9's big steel proprietary gas magazine holds a whopping 55 rounds. Do note that the magazine itself is pretty long, so you might want to keep a lookout for sort of larger SMG mag pouches that can hold it. So, the Kingdom Technologies KG-9 GBB is a pretty solid and impressive replica of the infamous SMG. But how does it shoot? Let's head to the range and find out. And now for the Chrono. As usual, we'll be firing 0.2 gram BBs using green gas. And now for the accuracy test. Here we are in X zone at the 15-meter range, because this is clearly an SMG and it's pretty much designed for short distances. So what can we do? Anyway, let's get to it. So, magazine in, safety off, bolt open, because this is a open bolt SMG, unlike others. One advantage of an open bolt SMG is you don't actually have to deal with a round being in the chamber. So as long as the magazine is out and the bolt's open, you're pretty much, the gun is safe. You're not going to have to deal with a BB stuck inside that you can't eject, unlike real guns. So anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Now, there's no stock over here, so I'm going to have to sort of rest it on a steady position and hope for the best. All right. Very snappy, by the way. Wow. Very interesting gun. It's one of the more unique models of GBB I've reviewed on this channel. Personally, the closest thing that I've personally here reviewed so far would be the Sten, because that too is, as you noted, an open bolt submachine gun. As for performance, it's nominally accurate. It's got a really handy, unlike previous KG-9s, this has a very, very easily adjustable hop up. So I've been able to adjust it quite well, and it's been going with a decent nominal amount of accuracy. Naturally, though, that accuracy is heavily reduced by the fact it doesn't have a stock. And it's quite hard to actually find a stock adapter online. So that is something that really sort of goes against it, even though this performs perfectly. Overall, though, as a very, very compact submachine gun that you can go in and out of cover and clear small spaces, it really is a fantastic, fantastic airsoft weapon. Very snappy, very fast, feels good, and the recoil is quite substantial, especially for one with a steel body. So I'm really, really impressed with that. So let's just go check it out, shall we? All right, let's take a look at this. Well, it's not very surprising, I'll tell you that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 2 must have been flyers elsewhere. I mean, let's just... All right. So there we go. Overall, I can't say it's really surprising because, as I mentioned earlier on, the lack of a stock really hurts its long-range, ability. It's also not helped by the fact that these sights are open-topped and very, very wide. There's no real way to ensure you're really, really pinpoint and straight, which is understandable. I mean, the whole attraction of the KG-9 and its popularity in the sort of American criminal underworld was the fact that it was basically an idiot-proof gun that anybody could use, get decent with it, and just spray bullets at that way. And in this, when it comes to replicating it, this Kingdom Arms KG-9 basically does it perfectly. You can't really ask for anything more from a KG-9, I think. Overall, I really like it. It's fantastic. It's got steel solid body, polymer underneath, and shoots very well, very reliably. Maybe not as accurate as some would like, but then again, you wouldn't be getting KG-9 for that anyway, would you? So, like I said, this is not a precision weapon. This is a spray and pray weapon. So let's pray. Oh man, that was nice. I really like that. Well, in spraying and praying, this is basically the gun you want, so no complaints about there. Anyway, let's head back to the studio. And we're back! So, the Kingdom Technologies KG-9 is a properly chunky shooter with a very solid construction and a satisfying firing action. In terms of externals, this KG-9 is a rock-solid platform with impressive steel and polymer bodies, let down only by the lack of accurate markings. Shooting, though, is hard and fast, with pretty alright accuracy, though the lack of a stock is really going to limit its performance in-game. But the huge 55 round magazine capacity will allow the players to achieve fire superiority in those tight CQB spots over players that are being forced to reload. Ultimately, we give the Kingdom KG-9 another good 4 stars out of 5. So, let's hand over to you guys. What are your thoughts on the Kingdom Technologies KG-9? Let us know in the comment section below. And for these cool products and many more, as always, visit us at www.redwolfairsoft.com. This is Andrew, out.